Welcome to Dreadful Digest, where we look at your favorite horror novels and rip apart their adaptations. I'm one of your hosts, Tessa Nelson.
I am another host, Michael Estrada.
And I'm another one of your co-hosts. I'm Sam. Can I ask a question before we get into
No.
the episode? Oh, okay.
Oh. Yeah, go
That's
for
my
it.
most. What's it like being married, guys? What's it like? Welcome to the Lovebirds podcast, you guys. I just need everybody to know that I'm officially at third fucking wheel.
Oh my
and I
God.
wanted that on the record this week.
Wait, what
How's
the
it
fuck?
going, guys?
What?
Major life update.
Are you fucking
Would
Just
you like to
jump
get
into
into
that?
Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. Whoa.
Would you like to get into this week's episode of Coraline?
Dude, yeah, I would like to get into this week's
Coraline
episode
is
of
also
Coraline.
about a girl who lives with two people that are in love with each other.
Whoa.
You're really fucking doing this right
Yeah,
now?
I actually prepped these in the car on the way.
You're a piece of shit.
My God.
We can get into it now, and you can cut that whole thing if you'd like.
There's
Oh
no
my-
marriage.
There is no marriage, first of all.
This is Michael and Tessa's anniversary episode.
Oh my god.
That's cool, though. Anyway,
You're
congrats.
fucked up for doing that. You're fucked
Yeah,
up for
yeah,
ambushing
I
it.
know.
That's
I was
messed
like
up.
holding that in.
I was shocked.
Holding that in my body until we got. I was like, also, I specifically did so after I introduced myself. So if you do want to cut that out, you're able to.
You're such a dickhead.
Continue. Let's
I
get
was like,
into it.
you
folks.
brought up marriage. I was like, oh, you got married? Oh, that's so
Yeah.
nice
Oh,
of you.
no, not me.
Shit.
Okay. Where was I?
Where
so,
are we?
Yeah, literally.
Dating now. Let's get into
Now
it.
you know, Emerson.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. What a way to find out. How did you find out?
Tessa told me. Tessa and I are best friends.
I called her because I wanted to have a meeting for podcast things. And I
Oh.
wanted to
It felt
warn
like something to
her.
mention.
Uh-huh.
You know, I didn't want her to not know. And
Oh,
I
in
just
case,
wanted
yeah,
in the loop.
just in
Control
case
of
you
the
start making out
situation.
midway through the podcast, it didn't surprise everybody. Yeah, thanks.
Sorry guys, but I was so fucking excited to do that.
Just jumped right into it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a warning. What the fuck?
I know. I'm sorry.
I really hope that that picks up on the mic. Our disembodied studio voice was not warned about this.
Nobody
ahead of
else
time.
knew about it. It was also kind of funny because like probably when this airs, you will have been dating for a long time. So, so it's gonna be very out of place. Love you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Congrats.
Well, you want to get into our
Let's talk
media
about-
this week?
So, we're talking about Coraline this week. This is a mess already.
Yeah, you're right.
We're looking at the novella written by Neil Gaiman and also the movie directed by Henry Selick. Before we jump into the synopsis, how familiar were you guys with Coraline before we decided to cover it?
Coraline for me was always one of those movies. I think a lot of young women identify with this movie a lot. So growing up, represent. Growing up, I just had tons of friends who loved Coraline. I don't know. I think it was just kind of like the aesthetics of it, the movie specifically. I don't know anybody who's read the book. Not shade in any way, but just like the movie, because of its aesthetics, are so visually captivating. I feel like so many young women I don't even remember the first time I heard of it because it was just like everybody had seen it at one point in elementary school. It was just like everybody loves Coraline. I didn't watch it for the first time until several years later. And I was really surprised by how much I liked it because, you know, I was like, is this kind of a kid's movie or is this going to be kind of like weird? But it has a lot of creative value. So I've never read the book before. So much fun to read the book. And it was great to rewatch the movie too.
Awesome. How about you?
Yeah, most of the same. Coraline, I feel like falls in that like exact same lane as Nightmare Before Christmas, where it's just like some reason stop motion animation movies hit this like cult status, where just like everybody likes it. And I never caught Coraline for some reason. I watched Nightmare Before Christmas, but I never watched Coraline. It just passed me by. I'm fascinated by stop motion, but I just never ended up watching it for whatever reason. Just never got around to it. So this is my first time watching it, but I knew about it for forever, obviously.
It's just one of those, like, it feels like everybody's seen it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Except me.
Well,
Until
now you
now.
have.
Yeah,
Now you can say you've seen it.
I have.
So I watched it when it came out in theaters. It was me and my grandma, and we were the only ones in the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's like seared into my brain. That's my memory with Coraline.
Wow. That's sweet, though.
I know. She loved taking me to movies and stuff, and so yeah, it was nice to revisit this. I wasn't a fan. I can't say that I'm a big fan of it. I'm kind of indifferent. This was the first time I read the book, and I think I preferred the book, but we'll get into that obviously.
There are some big differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for the movie because of the artwork and the hours put into it. Like it's beautiful. It's amazing. Like but yeah, I can't say I'm a huge fan.
Is it in our agenda to
Coraline.
talk about the director?
Of the movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a story, but I'll save it for them.
Yeah. So that's my background with Coraline.
That's a really nice background.
Yeah. Yeah. So should we get into the research?
Yes.
Okay. Before we jump into that, as we are filming this on July 28th, I gotta address this.
2024.
2024. Yes. There are some allegations against Neil Gaiman right now. Rolling Stones picked it up. And so I'm not going to be talking about him and the research. I'm just going to talk about the book briefly, the movie, and the director. So that we're not going to be talking much about the writer of Coraline. Yeah. Anyway, book was written and released in 2002. It was also made into a graphic novel in 2008. And it has won a Bram Stoker Award for Best Work for Young Readers.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a big deal.
Is that a big deal?
Yeah, Bram
Okay.
Stoker Award. I feel like that's specifically for horror.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna embarrass myself. What did he write?
Dracula. Oh, no.
No,
Dracula?
Bram Stoker, Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's I was like
No, you're right.
Dracula.
You're
Okay,
correct.
cool.
The Guardian ranked Coraline number 82 in its list of 100 best books of the 21st century. I feel like that's,
Whoa.
I mean, 82, like, that's kind of low on that list, but the fact that it's
You made it.
included,
Well, it
I
does-
mean.
And it's like a kid's book.
Yeah.
It's almost surprising that it came out in 2002 because like reading it, it almost has this like Brothers Grimm like fable quality that
Yeah.
makes it feel pretty timeless.
Mhm.
So I believe that. I mean, I don't no comment on where it should be on the list, but not surprising that it's
Yeah.
on that list.
You think
For
the
sure.
Bible's on that list?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be in.
Oh, of
In
the
21st
21st century. Yeah. The King James Version.
This book was also adapted into a musical that came out in 2009. There is a soundtrack on Spotify if you want to give it a listen. I'm
You
going to
loved
talk
it,
about
right?
it. I'm going to talk about it a bit more later on in the episode, but I did listen to the full thing and I have some thoughts. But it was produced by the MCC Theater, and there was also a stage opera. I couldn't find really anything about that, but that does exist. And there will be another musical. I don't think by the same people, but there will be another one in 2025.
Wow. Is
So-
that going to be Broadway? Is that going to be in
West
England?
End, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be more professional for sure. So I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen with that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the book also inspired Coralisa, which is a segment of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a little
That's cute.
fun fact about that. Are you guys ready to get into the movie? That's all I got for the book.
The book? Oh, okay. Sure. Are we doing a synopsis at any point?
Oh. Oh yeah.
Are you doing the synopsis? Are you doing the synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
I think
We
we might have
actually
got a little
did write
thrown
this
off.
I think I did. I think I forgot how these
Who
work.
knows by what? Depending on whether or not that gets cut. We may have been a little
I
frazzled.
feel like an evil genius. Like truly nothing has
a
given me
villain,
this
your
much
villain,
satisfaction.
villain origin story.
It's actually I feel like evil Cupid, except I had nothing to do with this. But other than that, I feel like evil Cupid.
Oh my God. Let's finish all the research and then we'll jump into that.
Okay.
My bad. My bad.
It's all good.
I messed
I
you
didn't
up.
know this order of things.
Yeah, no, I apparently don't either.
This is our first episode, guys.
Every week is our first episode,
Yeah.
apparently.
It feels like it. Alrighty, so the movie was produced by Leica Studio. This was the studio's first feature film.
Ugh, I love them.
Yeah, I always see them on LinkedIn.
Me too. I follow them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will never work for them probably. I mean, that's not what I want, but that's just reality. But oh my god, if you ever do need anybody for any reason, hit me up. I love your stuff. Oscar winners, so creative.
They're sick.
Just I don't think I mean, I do think that there's like variation in the quality of some of the stories that they tell, but like Never seen a bad one.
Yeah. And they just do stop motion, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So Coraline was the first stereoscopic 3D stop motion animated picture. Take with that what you will.
Amazing.
Yeah, what does that mean?
The first stop motion animated movie that was 3D.
That's interesting. I feel like you can kind of tell.
Yeah?
3D.
I think so. Maybe
Okay.
not.
Like what moments can you think of?
Oh, like recorded in three. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. I
Yes.
got you. I was like, wait, in 3 dimensions. The other stop motions were
no,
2D.
like you can watch it
I
in
get
3D.
it. Yeah,
I'm
okay.
thinking more of the camera movement because that was something that struck me a lot watching this time. Is like the camera movement is so interesting. Maybe that's
Yes.
kind of. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
that actually does make a whole lot of sense. There were several scenes watching it where like someone will do like a thing and go like, whoa,
Yes,
at
it's
the
like
camera.
designed to like.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and I was like, oh, I guess they're just really having fun with the cinematography, but I didn't know it was
That makes
filmed
a
in
lot of
3D.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
The DVD I got from the library had 3D glasses.
really.
That's fun.
I didn't watch it with
Wait,
3D
how does
glasses,
that work?
but
Does
I
your
don't
TV have to
know.
be compatible?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I assumed so. That's why I didn't try it. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was an option. So just as Gaiman was finishing his novella in 2002, he met with Henry Selick, Henry Selick, and invited him to make a film adaptation. Gaiman was a fan of Selick. Why can't I? It like stumps me when I look at it. Selick's other stop motion projects, which includes Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach. Did that sentence make sense to you guys?
Yeah, yeah,
I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. I hope you got
yeah,
some sense out of that.
yeah. It's funny. Can I tell my story?
No, go for it.
Is it
No.
relevant?
Yeah, go for it.
Is it relevant?
Is it relevant right now, or is it like, or is this our?
It's up to you.
I got to see him speak. Because so like I want to say it was October of last year, at the Santa Monica American Cinematheque Theater, the Arrow. Because they do like screenings and have people speak and stuff. Wendell and Wild, the Netflix produced movie, it was Jordan Peele. That was his first movie in 12 years since Coraline, and I got to hear him speak about it, and it was so interesting. He is such a little genius. Sorry, he's a normal sized genius. I don't know how tall he is.
He's just a tiny little
Well,
genius.
I got slightly worried about that. He's tiny little teeny
He's so
He's the
genius.
smallest
small.
genius I've ever seen.
But it's funny because one of the interviewers asked him about like, yo, what's it like for all of your movies basically to be attributed to Tim Burton?
Oh,
Oh, they asked that?
Yeah, and he took it in stride. He was just kind of like, like they worked together. Obviously, Tim Burton produced Nightmare Before Christmas. They're both very creative, but it is interesting how I think
He gets credit for it.
I
which
think
is
if
frustrating.
you walked up to people on the street and were like, who directed Coraline, they'd say Tim Burton, which
Yeah.
is so funny. He's so underrecognized. I think he's so talented.
I'd
Can't
be
wait to see what else
fuming.
he does.
If somebody else's name was on my movie, I'd be like,
yeah.
what?
Well, also like specifically with Nightmare Before Christmas, it's like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's just because
Yeah.
he produced it.
Mm.
So
Wild. Wendell and
Wendell
Wild.
that shit's great. This is a great podcast. We're good at this.
Okay. So some of the biggest influences for the color palette were The Wizard of Oz. So like if you notice, the real world, it has a very muted color palette, and the other world has a very colorful color palette. So that was inspired by The Wizard of Oz.
Hmm.
And this is I'm going to continue. This is the third highest grossing stop motion film of all time.
Wow.
I don't know what the first two are.
well, I'm sure Nightmare Before
Yeah,
Christmas
gotta
is up
be.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, what would be the other one? Stop motion.
I
know.
don't know what would be
Corpse
above-
Bride?
Oh no, I think it was the one with the dog, like the British
British Isle of
Are you
British
thinking
guy.
of? Yeah. I used to hate those.
Frankenweenie?
With the carrots.
No.
No, with the carrots. And they're like,
Oh, Wallace and Gromit?
Wallace
Yes.
and Gromit.
Dogs, and you stopped and you moved on. It's Isle of Dogs.
Oh, is that
No,
What?
no.
Oh, I
I
thought
was
No,
it was
thinking
that's not
Wallace
what
and
she.
Gromit.
That's not what she was talking about.
Oh, it sounded like.
She was
I
talking
thought
about
it was
Wallace and
Wallace
Gromit.
and
That is
Gromit.
that is a good movie, but I think it's probably Wallace and Gromit because I'm sure Wallace and Gromit is international.
Yeah, it's probably pretty
Well,
popular.
the fact that we
Yeah.
know Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
I used to hate Wallace and Gromit. I used to think it was so scary.
Really?
Yeah, I was. We watched
They're
it in
kinda
first
creepy,
grade.
Opinions on Chicken Run?
but not a single opinion.
You ever seen it?
No
No.
opinions
Dude,
at
I
all.
loved Chicken Run. It's funny. We're way off topic. Chicken Run's rules,
I
dude.
feel like that makes a lot of sense, actually.
What the hell?
So Coraline was nominated for an Academy Award and a Golden Globe.
Yes, have you seen the video where the year that Coraline was nominated, they did actual promotion. Sorry, I just know I'm not trying
That's
to take over
awesome.
the research
No.
section.
Sam
Please
loves
do.
Coraline.
I'm a huge fan. No, they did like the year that came out was the same year that Fantastic Mr. Fox came out, and like a bunch of
Oh,
other
shoot.
really high quality animated movies. And so they did like an interview with everybody in like their movie, and there's a
Oh,
really cute
shit.
little interview clip where Coraline, they like animated her being interviewed about being nominated for an Oscar.
That's
It's
cute.
really
It's super cute. I think it's on YouTube.
I miss when they would do that. Like I feel like Beauty and the Beast had
They did
a
use it. Yeah.
segment or
Yeah.
something. Like they used to care about animation.
Yeah.
No, they don't. So there were more than 28 animators that worked at a time on rehearsing and shooting scenes, producing 90 to 100 seconds of finished animation each week. I'm gonna jump into the animation stuff for a little bit.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
The characters could exhibit over 200,000 facial expressions, which is wild.
Have you ever seen like what they do? Because they don't like make it. They make all the expressions beforehand.
Yeah.
And they just have them like all set out, like big ass cases, just like little variations in their mouth, just all set. It's so cool. I love looking at behind the scenes stuff for stop motion. So
That's
sick.
fun. There were also 28 identical puppets of Coraline, and each one took 3 to 4 months to make, and usually 10 people constructed each one. So a lot of work went into this.
It's
movie.
amazing.
That's
like
wild.
anybody like there's no criticism for this. It's just such a pure art form. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Exactly. I want to get into some movie goofs from IMDb.
Movie Goose.
Movie goofs.
Is this a new segment? Movie Goose?
I think I did it in My Best Friend's Exorcism, but I wanted to bring it back. So when YB asks Coraline to take his picture, he hands her a specific camera and a flash goes off. But there is no flash attached to this camera.
Oh.
Oh.
Do you know what kind of camera it is?
It says it's a Leica M3.
That's funny. It's
Huh.
a Leica.
Nice.
Okay,
Leica
so that
shows
is,
a
I said it
Leica.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's silly. Leica.
We got you. We figured you out. The living room also changes place in the house throughout the film,
Wow.
which I think is
Oh.
kind of, I don't know if that was intentional, but I think it
Makes sense.
kind of makes you not know where things are and kind
Maybe,
of
yeah.
changes the setting a bit. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. Alrighty. Synopsis time. You want to tell
Synopsis
people
time.
what Coraline's even about?
Yeah, we should probably get into that. We did a lot of research notes about it. Let's see. All right, I'll get into the synopsis. This is for the book, not for the movie. They're mostly the same. There's only a few differences.
There's a few like key differences, I think, but
Yeah.
there's not many.
Yeah, minor stuff, but the overall structure is about the same.
Mhm.
So Coraline Jones and her parents move into a new big old house that's been refurbished and has a couple flats, so it's like separated into multiple flats. And Coraline, I'm kind of feeling a little underappreciated and ignored by her parents, so she explores to keep herself busy. And she finds a black cat in the garden. She finds a strange little door that leads to seemingly nowhere. It's bricked up. It's a bricked up door. Oof. And in her house.
We have children listeners.
Oh my God, we do?
I hope.
Oh,
Do
it's- they shouldn't be listening. If you're listening to this, stop. All right, anyways, the
Actually,
door is
don't.
hella bricked up. And she also talks to her neighbors, Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, and they're former actresses, and they read Coraline's tea leaves, and they tell her that she's in terrible danger, and they give her a little rock with a hole in it for protection. And Coraline's like, sick, I'm in danger, I'm so hyped, because she's insane. And then she talks to her crazy upstairs neighbor who can talk to rats, and he's like, Coraline, my rats tell me, don't open the door.
I thought he was like giving Borat in the movie. Like,
Kinda
am I,
is.
like, anyway, sorry. I was just saying that because your impression also reminded me of Borat.
Both the audiobook version and the movie have a Russian accent, so I'm just giving him justice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But like somebody doing a Russian
Yeah,
accent.
yes.
Not,
No, not a Russian
Not a
person.
Russian accent.
Somebody doing a Russian
This is
accent.
very authentic
Yeah.
to the audiobook
it's exactly what it
experience.
sounds
Yeah, yeah.
like. Sorry,
Um,
continue.
Anyway, she talks to her crazy upstairs neighbor, and he's like, Coraline, my rats tell me that you shouldn't go through the door. Does this mean anything to you? And Coraline's like, doesn't ring a bell. And it's because she's really smart. And then the next day or whatever, her parents are gone, and she, guess what? Gets a key and opens the door. And it's not bricked up anymore. And she goes into another dimension, and she finds a copy of her house, and a copy of her neighbors, a copy of the garden, and a copy of her parents. And they say they're her other mother and other father. And everything in this other place is great. Food's great. Her parents pay attention to her. Everything's awesome. And the black cat from the garden can talk now. And he's like, don't things are kind of sketchy with that other mother. Be careful. She's like, okay, word. And she goes back to the other dimension eventually because she feels like she has to go back. And when she gets back, her parents are missing. And the cat helps her figure out that her parents have been trapped by the other mother in the other dimension. And she also learns that the souls of 3 children are also trapped there. So Coraline decides she has to rescue everyone. And she challenges the other mother to a game and using her wits and cunning. And also the little rock that she got from earlier, that's foreshadowing. We call that foreshadowing in the business.
Or a plot device.
Yeah, yep, maybe. We might call it that too. Chekhov's rock. Using the rock, she finds the little souls of the kids. She figures out where her parents are being hidden. But the other mother doesn't want her to let her leave. She goes back on her word. So Coraline has to trick. But I think they call her the Beldam at some point. Is that
Beldam?
what she is?
That?
Yeah, I don't know. They say it a few times. I guess that's what she is. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Beldam.
Yeah, but the other mother goes back on her word. She doesn't let Coraline leave. So Coraline has to trick her into opening the door and escaping. But once she gets back, the souls of the 3 children tell Coraline it's not over yet. The other mother, or the Beldam's hand got through, and Coraline has to set up a trap and traps the other mother's hand in a well and seals up the well. And then Coraline wins. She's smart and she tricks the Beldam or other mother like multiple times. She's great. The end. That's the synopsis.
Good
Sweet.
synopsis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I Googled the Beldam, and it's just, all
They
that
made
popped
it up.
up was the villain's wiki. It says better known as the other mother.
Okay.
So
I thought it was her name. I don't know why I thought that, but that was my understanding.
Yeah, because when I was listening to the audiobook, one of the little British kids, ghosts, he's like, the Beldam, miss, he's gonna find us. And,
Right.
and I was like, oh, who? I thought that was like a title, some old British
that's
title.
what I thought too.
But then when I was watching the movie on Amazon, they have like, sometimes if you pause it, it'll show like the actors or actresses and what character they're playing, and it said Beldam.
See, that's why I thought it was the name, because I think if you look it up, it says like Beldam.
It's
played by-
like, yeah, and it's like capitalized, and so
Instead of, well, I guess the other mother is really just what she calls herself to Coraline. So
Yeah,
maybe
I
the
guess.
Beldam is like what she actually is.
yeah, I was a bit confused on that, but yeah.
That makes sense. All right, book versus movie time.
Whoa.
Let's do it. So we're gonna start with the beginning.
Good place to start.
Yes. Like, so yeah, we're gonna start at the beginning. I was like, how do I transition?
Where do you think we're gonna start?
I'd hope the beginning.
We're gonna start with the beginning, and then gonna go to the middle, and then the end.
Whoa,
Yeah.
shaking things up.
Yep. So the book takes place during summer break, while the movie takes place in February, which is interesting because I always assumed that this was a very fall-themed movie, like that was the vibe.
Hmm.
But then it said that when she went into town, they had like President's Day banners.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, it takes place in February, but the book takes place in summer.
Mhm.
So interesting.
Interesting.
I don't
That
know.
is
Quite interesting.
Well, the way that I think this is still counts as beginning territory, but the way that they build out Coraline's world, it's along those lines, is different in the books and the movie.
Yes.
In the movie, she has friends.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. That's like exposition that they added into the movie, that she misses her friends and she has pictures of her friends. And I think that was missing that kind of making her into a real girl.
That didn't
who
just
moved.
materialize
Exactly.
out of
Who
nowhere.
actually moved to a new town. And she misses her. Of course, she misses her friends. And
Yeah.
like things like that. I think attention was given in the movie to that. Maybe a little more so than in the book, because it's also like, I know she's buying things for. At one point in the book, still the beginning, she buys clothes for school.
Yeah.
She never goes to school.
No,
Ever.
It's like the week before school starts. All
Yeah.
this happens, and like
That's
that
where the
makes
book.
sense.
I think.
That's where the book ends. Actually,
That
right?
makes sense for summer break.
Yeah.
In February, did she move over President's Day weekend?
Oh yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess it makes
that's
sense. Why
you know
isn't
what
she
I'm
in
saying?
school?
confusing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Or maybe she's waiting. Yeah.
When this takes place is different between
Hmm.
the two, and it kind of matters, but not that much.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on that note, I talked to you about this the other day about changes in the beginning and her moving. They make a specific note in the movie to say that she's from Michigan. Like
Mhm.
that's like the first conversation she has with YB, who's a character that's only in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, "Where are you from?" She's like, "I'm from Michigan." And then her dad says a couple times that he works for like Michigan State, and I was like, "Why did they specify that? It's bizarre."
I thought he worked like they both worked for like a plant newsletter.
Yes,
Is that for
Or
Michigan
maybe he-
State?
I think because
either-
he's wearing a Michigan sweater.
Right.
But I
or
don't
he's
know.
just graduated from Michigan State. He
Maybe.
mentions it at some point.
Wait, can I say something?
What's
I
up?
forgot to share this when we were originally talking about our affiliation with Coraline.
Okay.
But for the last long time, let's see if I can pull this up. Coraline's father has been my profile picture on CoStar. Because I love this still from the movie. I think that's when he has headphones in this one,
Yeah.
like me. But
Literally me.
no, exactly. What a great image. And I just thought of that because I thought of the Michigan sweater. Him
Mhm.
and his little, that's like literally me at work. Like, stop bothering me, you know?
Facts.
Anyway, Michigan State. He's wearing a Michigan sweater.
Oh yeah. I don't know if did you ever end up looking it up where
forgot.
Dakota Fanning is from? Okay, this is my weird. I put on my
can Google
tinfoil
it.
hat when I was watching the movie. Okay, because for some reason they invent that she's from Michigan and it's in America, even though I think the book seems like it's set in Europe. I would assume. I don't know. They don't. I don't know if
It's
they
that
say it.
Brothers Grimm thing.
Exactly.
It feels like a European
Hmm.
fable.
But like, so here's my little tinfoil hat theory. So it seems random, but then at some points Coraline will have like a very clear Midwest accent.
Oh.
When she speaks, she'll be like, "My mom and dad." She'll like say it like that.
Whoa, was that
So
a Glenn
accurate.
impression? That's crazy.
She'll like say it like that. It'll peek through. And I was like, hold on. Did they have Dakota Fanning, who does the voice of Coraline, do a Midwest accent? Or does Dakota Fanning have a Midwest accent and so they wrote in that they're from Michigan?
No, that's an interesting question. I mean, the Fanning girls both are like voice actresses. They're also both in that Studio Ghibli movie Totoro.
Oh.
And they like, I know Elle and Dakota are both in a lot of like children's movies when they were younger. So it might have been the name recognition thing. I don't know where she's from. That's interesting though.
So I was wondering if they like instructed her to have an accent or if like to make her more comfortable, they were like, yeah, just
They were
speak in your
like-
normal voice. And then they just wrote in the family is from Michigan. So
Great
that way,
question.
when her
So
accent
she's
peeked
from
through-
Georgia.
Oh,
So they
Yeah.
had her do the accent.
I guess so.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, what a talented young actress.
She was really young. That was like 2009, right? She was
Yeah.
pretty young.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah.
She's 30 right now.
Hmm.
But I would assume the book is. They seem British. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you can't tell from a book, but like Neil Gaiman's British, and also in the musical, it's British people singing. So I don't know. I kind of associate it with British people.
It's
You know?
Singing with British people.
I'm just like when I think of Coraline, the book, I just imagine them being British. I don't know.
Yeah. I just-
Yeah, well, it's yeah. I
Well,
don't
they are
know.
British in the audiobook. They're all British.
Everyone's British.
Yeah. Alrighty. So you mentioned Wyborn.
Yep.
He is not in the book at all. And his grandma isn't a character in the book. His grandma's sister isn't a soul of one of the souls. So that's a completely he's completely made up for the book. Do you guys have any thoughts on the character of Wyborn?
Made up for the movie.
Made up for the movie,
Yeah,
yes. She
You
doesn't
wanna
have any
start?
friends in the book, apparently.
Yeah, no, there's no other kids other than the ghost, the souls of the kids.
Mhm.
The only other kids. Would you ask what I had thoughts on Wyborn?
Yeah, do you guys have thoughts on Wyborn as a character?
I like his addition for the most part. Mostly because it just gives Coraline someone to talk to her age. Again, it makes her feel more like a real person, that there's like another kid there to bounce off of. And I think I like the addition of his grandmother, at the very least, so that we actually have like a real connection to at least one of the souls. It feels a little more emotionally invested by the end of it when she
Yeah.
rescues them. Because in the book, they're just like introduced. They're just, oh, we're these old timey souls that have been stuck here
And
forever.
I like that they're old timey. Like
Yeah,
the way
that's
she
fun.
describes them is like, oh, their outfits are older. Like I don't, the way they talk is older.
Mhm.
I think it's cute.
But yeah, I think I like Wyborn. I don't have like huge opinions on him. I think he's a good addition. He's a solid choice to make him a new character. What about
Okay.
you?
I feel mixed about his addition
Mm.
because I do think it builds out the world, which is nice. I also just felt like why does Coraline need a young guy character around her age? I just don't really think, not that there's any romantic tension between the characters, obviously, but like I just didn't, I don't think he has so much narrative influence necessarily that he's essential. But because like in the book, she doesn't need anybody to help with any of what she's doing. Of course,
Definitely.
when we cover the ending, we can talk about this more, but the ending of how, as you already talked about, the hand gets in the well, and how all those pieces come together is like slightly different because of YB's character. So I don't think it significantly changes anything. And of course, before I had read the book, like I didn't notice anything at all. I wasn't like, why do they have this guy in here? Like that wasn't what I thought. But it makes me, I just wonder about what the creative process was behind going in that direction. I do agree that the grandma does build out the world. I think it makes a lot of sense. It helps with the doll stuff, like the dolls and the button eyes and stuff like that. I would say that's it's a gray area of both the book and the movie for me. But in the movie, it's a little more like intentional, I guess, the way that they approach it.
Yeah. Also, wait, that is a small difference between the movie and the book as well. The doll. That's another thing in the book.
Yeah, I was gonna mention.
They say like her rats are what she uses to like see stuff.
Right.
But in the movie,
it's a doll,
Yeah.
and the button eyes matter.
Yes.
You know.
I like that change.
It's hard to evaluate if it's good or bad or like if I like it or don't like it. It's just like it's different and it works, so why complain?
I'm mostly neutral about YB, but I do like the addition of his grandmother more.
Yes, yeah. Even though she's literally never on screen.
No, she's at the end.
Oh wait, she does walk
at the
on
garden
at the
party.
end. But like she's not like a character that like significantly
You
affects
just
anything.
hear her off
but-
yelling at her.
Exactly, but I completely agree.
Yeah, Wyborn, he's basically just there to like tell her about the history of the place and also the history of the well, which is stuff that in the book she knew. Like we go in, she's like, "Oh, somebody told me about this well. I'm gonna go explore."
Yeah.
At which like Wyborn is there basically to fill that in for viewers. But yeah, you mentioned how she's able to have a bit more agency. I feel like the Coraline in the book has more agency. Like she's able to figure things out on her own. She's really smart.
I mean, she literally takes away her agency. The whole hand thing at the end is completely taken away from her.
We can cover the end when we get to that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. That was a stark contrast for me between the book and the movie as well. It was like, in the book, it's like she knows what's going on the entire time. There's never a time where she doesn't know she's being tricked. There's never a time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like, there's one thing that I love from the book is she like remembers a story about her dad and how he conquered like moments where he should have been afraid and how he conquers fear.
Oh yeah.
And I loved that story in the book. I don't think we needed it in the movie, so it's not a loss. But in terms of the characterization, like it's about, she's young and she's facing fear head on, and she's very, very aware. She's a very smart young girl. In the movie, she does kind of seem to be bumping around more into her circumstances and figuring out, but it's just different.
I feel like when she does go to the other world, we're kind of jumping ahead. Yeah. But when she does go into the other world in the book, she's immediately skeptical. She's like, these people are weird. I don't trust these people at all.
Right.
But in the movie, she falls for it, which I get as a kid. That makes more sense. But it also is kind of nice, like, having a character that is young but is still, like, smart and suspicious.
Something to add to this also, for me, specifically when she gets through the world for the first time, the food, the food in the book and movie I thought was different. She loves the food. And, like,
In the movie? Or what?
In both, but she grows suspicious of it in the book. In the movie, she's still like, she's not suspicious of the food specifically. And I like it because like there's this like classic quality about a character going to another world and eating the food because of like Persephone, right? And like right?
Yeah. Of course, we all know.
We're following this?
We're all aware
God,
of Persephone.
the Hades' wife.
Right. Goes down into the underworld, eats the pomegranate, and now she's stuck. And that's seems like less of a thing in the movie to me. Whereas in the book, I thought it was a conscious decision to kind of evaluate what it means by Coraline eating the food from the beldam and being in the alternative world. This is all like theoretical. This isn't like in the book, but that was just my interpretation of how the character acts the first time she steps into the new world and how she interacts with all those things it's different. And I feel like the intention behind it in the story was a little bit different,
Because in the movie, she's just having like a great time.
Take the gravy train. She's like,
Yeah.
mango milkshake, please.
Oh my God, that milkshake thing, spinning in this. Oh my God, that was amazing.
No, I know. Don't
want
get me
that.
wrong. I would have eaten that.
Yeah.
I don't care if it was
100%.
bugs or spiders or whatever.
Yeah, in the book, she has like the vibe the whole time of just like, okay. Like,
Yeah, she's like,
all right.
Yeah, she's like, okay. Like,
She's like, I guess I'll
Yeah,
go along with
that's
whatever this
good.
is, but clearly this is fucked up. Whatever's going on here
Yeah.
is not normal. But she's
Mhm.
like, I mean, I'm bored.
Coraline's like, in the movie, she's like, you don't look like my mom. And it's like, in the book, she's like, this weird woman is trying to trick me into thinking, it's her character's different. Her first time in the world is different. And then what happens next?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, not to put you on the spot. This is me doing my best to go chronologically.
No, that's smart. Well, talking about the parents a bit more.
Oh, yes.
We did talk about their jobs briefly, but in the movie they make note of like what they actually do, but in the book they don't. They're just like they're doing stuff
They're
on the
just
computer.
busy.
The
And I feel like
child neglect
Yeah.
is like obviously very important. This story would not unfold if it wasn't for child neglect.
yeah.
But yeah, it seems like at least in the movie they're doing a job.
They're also significantly, I don't know if you got this feeling, they're significantly meaner in the movie.
I felt that way too.
Yeah.
They're like, no, like
Yeah.
you can't go play
Leave.
outside.
Yeah, in the book, they're just kind of like, I'm busy right now, Coraline. Sorry.
But they give her things to do.
Yeah, they're like, hey, why don't you go do this? Or like, why don't you go talk with
Yeah.
this person or whatever.
Her dad in the movie is like, why don't you just count every window in the house?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Her mom in the movie is like constantly shitting on her. Like,
Oh, I
the
know.
whole time. I'm like, damn, she's clearly just
I
a
know.
I
kid.
get why she would want to leave.
I know, yeah. It makes more sense in the movie that she fully buys into the other world, I think.
Yeah.
Probably, I guess, a little, because her parents
Right.
are bad in the movie.
Yeah. Well, and I think it makes sense that they don't have jobs really mentioned in the book. Like, of course, a kid wouldn't know what their parents are doing all day. Like, they don't
Yeah, I mean,
understand.
that's true. The book is from Coraline's perspective.
Yes.
So we get that. We understand her emotions a lot more and what she knows is going on. And we also know, that she doesn't know what her parents do.
Mhm.
So makes sense. I agree. But it's nice in the movie to have that more filled out. There seems like there are a lot of this is a movie that can be enjoyed by both kids and adults because of things like that, like building out the world, and also because they kind of sprinkle it with some little adult jokes in there,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I feel like we could cover more as we go through the story. I was a little surprised with the things that I don't remember from the movie from when I watched it when I was younger.
Oh, yeah. I just realized what you're talking about, probably.
Probably.
Yes.
When
Wait,
we,
say it.
we can talk more about the neighbors in a bit.
Yeah, the neighbors.
Oh,
And a
okay.
And I'm
particular
like, I
performance.
did not know what they did. for a
Yeah,
living
that was
until I
shocking.
rewatched it.
I was surprised. It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is a children's book or movie.
Yeah.
Another plot device are the snow globes, which are they
Yes.
appear in both, but in the movie, they are there from the get-go. They have like a snow globe collection. It's brought up at the beginning, but in the book, the way that she knows that something's off about the worlds is that there is a snow globe on the fireplace or the mantle or
mantle.
something, and she's like, we don't have that. So I'm wondering like why they wanted to introduce the snow globes so early, because it is like a way for her to know like, oh, my parents are obviously in the snow globe that isn't in my world and it's only in this world, you
Yeah.
know. So I wonder why they made that decision.
It's a good question. They did a few things like that where pieces that were in the book are turned into different things in the movie. Like when the neighbors are reading Coraline's tea leaves and there's the hand. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, like
Oh.
that's a reference to like, that's so interesting that obviously in the book is not mentioned because it's from Coraline's perspective. But just another thing that similarly where it's like it has a very different role in the movie versus the book, but it's still there. And that's just how like universal those pieces can be moved around.
Actually, the hand is in the book.
The hand is in the book,
Yeah.
but in the tea leaves specifically? Is it in the book?
Because in the book, we're getting
Really?
skipping to the end.
Okay, you have better memory than I. This
yeah.
is why I take notes.
In the book, she gets her tea leaves read twice. She gets it read in the beginning, and they
Oh.
don't mention what it looks like. And then once she's like done with the beldam, she gets it read a second time to like be sure, I guess, or she's just hanging out with Miss Spink and Forcible.
She's always hanging out with them.
Yeah.
I would be so annoyed if I was there.
Yeah, and they read her tea leaves a second time, and then they're like, "Oh, things seem to be fine, but there's this weird thing at the side of the cup that looks like a hand," and they mention it in the books
Wow, I didn't even remember that.
because she doesn't know the hand is still out there, yet.
Mm.
And then she's like, "Huh?"
Okay,
So that happens in the books. yeah.
okay, so maybe
They
I'm
like
wrong.
combined it in the movie to just
Into that one
yeah,
moment.
it looks like a
Before
hand.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, continue.
Well, speaking of Miss Spink and Miss Forcible,
Yep.
correct? They give her the rock from the beginning in the book. But in the
Yes.
movie, it's near the end and it's made out of candy or whatever, which would be sticky and
Yeah, they're
gross,
like-
and I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't
was
like
a bit
that.
confused
Ugh.
about that.
So yeah, when they give her this seeing eye thingy that helps her find the evil it helps her see evil, but also see the ghosts, souls.
Yeah.
Question mark. Anyway, it helps her see what she needs to see, basically, for plot reasons.
Yeah. They say it's supposed to protect her from like evil things.
Okay.
But it's literally just used for Coraline to like look through and find the kids' souls. That's
Yeah.
what
I'm
she
trying to
uses.
find what they're called really quick, because in narrative structure, there's a thing very early on in your journey, and this follows better in the book. Not better, but this is just different in the book. You meet your mystic aid at the
Yeah.
very beginning of your journey, and they give you the thing that's going to aid in your quest or whatever. And so it's interesting how that plays out in the book, whereas in the movie, it is a little more convenient that she just goes back and then they just make her that thing. They're like, "This will help."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes to them to tell them that her parents are missing. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, we can't do anything about it, but here's this rock. And then they give her the rock and it's like, this should help.
Yeah.
And
And that feels like it's an already established thing they've had for a while.
Right.
Like that, I would believe like, oh, that would help her. But something they just made out of candy, I'm like, okay, it looks cool,
It
but
looks very
like,
cool.
I don't buy that it's like this thing that
Well,
could
it kinda
actually
looks
help
like a
her.
Ouija, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it
It's like-
does.
Mhm.
yeah.
in the movie, at least. I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
But I imagine you guys ever seen Spiderwick Chronicles?
Yes. Oh
That-
my god.
It's like the same thing, right? Isn't
Uh-huh.
that from the movie? Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Shout out Spiderwick Chronicles.
Is that based on anything? Is that horror?
It's it's
Probably a
based on books, yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if it count. It's more fantasy than
Oh,
horror,
okay.
but I could double check. So there's a whole scene in the movie with the other father in this really cool garden, which I loved the garden in the
yes.
movie so much, and that is not really that's not in the book at all. Them like going around the garden, hanging out. I feel like the dad is important in both. And I feel like she is the one that she can actually connect to in the
Mhm.
other world because he's kind of a victim as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, ooh, I liked that. It was a break from a break from the house. I feel like we needed something outside of the house
Mhm.
as a cool set piece.
He also gets little musical numbers every time he's on screen in the movie,
Yeah.
which is nice. It's fun.
Yeah. It's a very visually exciting scene,
Yeah.
which makes sense why it's in the movie.
Definitely.
And it's nice how it connects with the end,
Mm.
you know. Me literally like trying to go chronologically. It's you know, I understand why they added it in the movie. I think it's beautiful and it's
Mhm.
like it's so cool. You know,
Mhm.
I remember especially because like the way that the garden scene happens is like you don't really know like what it looks like until they like come out and
Oh,
then
yeah.
you see that it's Coraline and you're like,
Yeah.
what kid wouldn't want that?
Exactly. When I was reading it, I wrote down one of my notes was like, I would love to have a garden like this. Even the one that's like in the normal world, that's all like
Yeah.
run down and stuff. I'm like, there's so much to explore. That would be so cool.
Mhm.
I would love that. So now we're going to jump into the middle section, unless you guys had any further thoughts on the beginning.
We're good.
Okay. So there is no rat circus performance in the book, which I think is a
Yeah.
good addition in the movie.
Yeah.
Although I like how creepy he is in the other world, like he's literally made of rats and stuff.
Mm.
But I think it was a good addition for sure.
Yeah, when I was watching the movie, it felt so natural to have him have a rap performance that I was like, did I miss that in the book? 'Cause I read the book first. I was like, does he do that in the book? 'Cause what? Does he do anything in the book in the other
Not
world?
really.
He just like is there. He just has like a creepy moment where
Yeah.
he like
Well,
the
there's-
rats like come into his clothes, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's this sweet moment at the end of the book when she finds out what his name is because she doesn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
what his name is for most of the book.
What was it again? Bobo?
Mr. Bobo.
Mr. Bobo. And
Nice.
she's like, his name was Mr. Bobo. I wouldn't have been scared of him.
But she knows at
It's
the
like, I would have
beginning
been saying
of
that the whole
movie,
time
right?
if I knew.
She knows his name from the beginning. Of the
Yeah.
movie.
In the movie, yeah.
But in the book, she's like freaked out by him.
It's also Bobinski in the movie.
Bobinski.
Bobinski.
The great Bobinski.
Yes. Going back to the circus. Yeah, one of the scenes that I remember most, the top two scenes that like when I think of this movie that come to mind are number one, the Scotty Dog performance situation, which we'll talk about shortly.
Mhm.
And when they get the popcorn and the cotton candy, and there's like these interesting little machines in the other world. They're so cute. They're like so creative the way that these things are like. There's like it like shoots out like cotton candy,
Yeah.
right?
I
From
love all
candy.
the fun
yeah.
little
It's
weird
so
gizmos
creative.
It
in
looked
the
so
other.
good.
And I
wanted
just
to eat
those
it.
are like the two scenes that stand out so much because they're so like it's like fulfilling to your inner child to like see those things, and it's like that's so cool.
And the popcorn
Definitely.
machine is like a chicken pecking a
Yes,
corn
it's
on
like
the cob.
yeah, and it's like that is the coolest thing ever. I want that. It doesn't exist, obviously. I don't know how that would be made, but
Well, did you want to talk about the
Scotty dog
Scotty dogs
situation.
Yeah.
Too many Scotty dogs. They were creepy. I did
yes.
not
They
like
looked
them.
very unsettling
I
in
did
the
not
movie.
like their eyes.
I didn't like that
No.
their teeth were showing all the time.
No.
No, I love Scotty dogs in real life, just to be so, to the Scotty dog community.
Shout out Scotty Dog community.
But yeah, in the movie they're a little eerie looking. Basically, so what happens after the wonderful performance of the rats? Actually, I don't remember which order it goes in. Does it go rats and then
Sorry.
Scotty dogs? I don't
Oh.
remember. So
I think so.
basically, Coraline visits her other neighbors in the other world. So she visits Mr. Babinski. She sees the rat circus. So cool. Then she goes and she visits her other two neighbors who
She's always visiting.
she's
Yeah.
always hanging out with in the normal world. And then she crosses over to the other world. And they are doing a performance. One of the qualities about these two women that are her neighbors is that they are former showgirls. It's not really defined what they do in the book because it's from Coraline's perspective. But in the movie, they specified a little bit more. They're like peep show girls.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Oh.
they're former
Yeah.
they're kind of former sex workers, I think. Isn't that
Yeah, because they have a bunch
that's
of
canon.
posters in their house that
And
are
it's
all
all-
like parody titles.
It's all innuendo. It's
Yeah.
like I wouldn't say they were like porn stars because I think it's more to like live performance
Yeah.
that it's referencing. So that's what's happening in the real world. That's actually what her neighbors used to do. And then she crosses over to the other side and they're live performers. And everybody in this auditorium is a Scotty dog except for Coraline and YB. And the two women who are the neighbors, I keep forgetting their names.
Spink and Forcible.
Spink and Forcible. They perform, they kind of suck. They're not the best. They're doing their singing, and it's just kind of like
Trying to one up each other.
trying to
the
one
whole
up
time.
each other. They're also wearing like revealing clothing, and they're
Very
like when I'm telling you
Yeah.
this would not pass for dress code in my high school. I don't know how they got away with it. But so they're wearing very revealing clothing. And then at one point in the performance, they unzip their skin and outstep two beautiful, skinny young women who continue the performance and are beautiful, have amazing singing voices, and they incorporate Coraline into an acrobatics routine. Misogyny. That's what I would like to add to this. What do you mean in this better universe, these two women unzip their skin and become young, skinny, and beautiful and blonde? Stop
Call
it.
them out.
Misogyny.
Dude, get them.
Thank you. I don't know about that. Maybe it is from the younger girl's perspective, probably of what she like aspires to be, and obviously she probably doesn't aspire to look or act like Miss Spink and Miss Forcible. But that scene is interesting for a range of reasons.
In the book, I feel like it's more that because in the book they talk more about like how the old days. They're constantly talking about when they used to be actresses.
Yes,
when
they're
they
like
used to be so popular.
the
when
people
they
that would
used-
visit their dressing rooms.
Yeah, they used to be so beautiful, and then so I think in the book it's more like, oh, they're happy here because they get to be like they used to be. They get
Yeah.
to. I think that's kind of what they go for more in the book. but-
Right. That makes sense why that happens. Yeah, I will
Mm.
say visually it is so interesting to see them like
Yeah.
literally unzip their bodies in front of the audience.
Well, that is a note in the book that they are skinny too. I feel like it's
The
like,
neighbors are skinny in the normal world? Or in the
in the
Oh
other
yeah,
world.
yeah, they transform into like these beautiful
Yeah,
young women.
So blame the
With button
writer,
eyes.
blame the director.
Misogyny. I don't know if it's actually misogynist.
Men would write that? What? That's
don't buy it.
crazy.
Nah.
No, I don't know. But it's interesting how it plays out in the movie. Those two characters are just, it's striking. The influence you can have on young minds through visual metaphor is astounding. Now, anything else on the Scotty dogs?
I feel like you should edit in like a picture of the outfit they're wearing.
Yeah, I
If-
feel like because
if-
I feel
if
like
they
I'm
don't know.
understating how like I don't want to overstate it either because it's like this is a kids movie. When I was a kid, I didn't think anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing
I
it
watched
now,
as a
you're
kid.
like, what? Like,
Yeah.
like, why are they doing that? Why do they look like that?
Yeah.
But
I feel like I probably noticed that because I was with my grandma when I saw it, and I was probably like, "Oh no,
Not with my grandma.
not my grandma."
They're just very voluptuous.
Can't look at that.
women.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all that I'll say on that. And
Yeah.
especially in the other world, they're wearing like nothing.
Another difference is that when she sleeps in the other world, so specifically in the movie, when she sleeps in the other world, she wakes up into the regular world. And that is not a plot point that happens in the book at all. She just kind of goes back and forth whenever she wants. But specifically in the movie, she'll sleep and then she'll wake up in her regular life. And I think that was kind of a cool addition. I like that narratively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in the book, she goes there only twice, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. She only goes to the other world. It's a very limited amount of time.
She goes once, experiences all the fun stuff.
Yeah, and she's like, that was weird.
Yeah, she's like, okay, I mean, that was kind of fun, but I gotta go back. And they try to convince her to stay, and she's like, no, I'm good. And then she leaves,
She leaves, and her parents are missing.
and her parents are missing, and then she goes back and then confronts the beldam. That's it. She
She's
goes
telling
twice.
everybody that my parents are gone and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's
It's
so,
crazy.
when she starts crying, like that was so sad.
Yeah, but the movie, she goes back like 3 times.
Yeah.
Or something like that. She
Well,
goes,
it's like she goes back, she goes, and then she's like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going again.
yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, but it's locked up. It's bricked up, in the words of Michael. And
It's
Hella
then
bricked
literally bricked up.
and then it
So
opens
bricked.
again. And then I forget exactly how it happens. But in the movie, it feels like more than once.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know if it is, but it definitely feels more like she goes in and out of the worlds more frequently. Which is,
Yeah.
but going back to the sleeping thing, it is interesting because I think one of the things I like about this is how like this is a story that in either version like hits its beats. You know, we talked about the supernatural aid already and how she gets like the thing that aids in her journey, and like she goes through this cycle of entering the other world and like the metaphor of like going asleep. It's so like it's just clean in every version. The fact that she exits one world and enters another through sleep. I mean, talk about Wizard of Oz. Like it's just so clean. I don't know how else to like explain it. You know what I mean? It's just like literal. Like that's how it goes.
I
like
do
it.
love
It's
also
great.
little just like a visual thing that I love that they do in the movie because I want to keep gushing about how great the animation looks. They do a little bit where like whenever she opens the door and goes to the tunnel, it's like one of those little like fold up tunnels they have for like dogs to run through, like a dog show. One of those little like scrunchy tunnels, and it like extends out like a little. It looks, I don't know. Watch the movie. It's really cool.
Yeah, watch the movie.
Every like artistic choice they have is so fun. It looks great.
Yeah, because in the book, it's like kind of creepy, like walking through it, right? There's like cobwebs. There's like
They
don't
never
know.
give it like a. It's the way they describe it in the book. At least the way I at least the way at least the way I envisioned it when I was like listening to it is like it's almost amorphous. It's just like a black space that
Yeah.
leads to the other dimension, and they never like truly define it. And they say that like whenever she walks through it, she feels something old and slow. They say this multiple times.
oh,
So it's never like a fun thing when she goes to the other world. It's always described as like very ominous and eerie.
Mhm.
And then she gets to the other world and it's cool now. But like getting there is like not a good thing. So I like in the movie
not
they
very
change it.
welcoming.
No,
at all.
no,
Like
not welcoming at
the
all.
purple thingy. the
Yeah.
purple- That's what I had for the middle.
Okay,
Did you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up in the middle section?
Just while we're in the middle, let me just go over my notes really quick.
go over them.
Same.
Thank you.
Go over the notes, please.
Also gonna look in the middle. You both listened to the audiobook, right?
Yes.
I did, yes.
So you both heard the creepy rat song.
Yes.
I love
hated
that song.
it. Oh.
No, let me hear me out. I didn't love that song because I'm not gonna put that on Bump It. But like I was
Give me the
surprised.
yucks.
I was
One
surprised
sec.
they didn't use it in the movie. I thought that would have
Yeah.
been
I
good.
know.
Like I don't know. I just thought it was a solid song, and I thought it really gelled it.
It like gave me some
creepy.
chills. I didn't like it.
But it was creepy in a good way. I thought it fit it really well. And like I said, I was surprised they didn't even like reference maybe I don't know when this audiobook was recorded. Maybe it was recorded after the movie, and there's no way that would have been included. I don't know.
Yeah, I was waiting for it in the movie and it never happened.
Oh, one thing I'll say about the middle, it's just a little detail. The other mother, and they're able to do this visually in the movie, her wardrobe changes throughout the story. And like you can see as she slowly starts to turn into a spider, how it starts in like human clothes and then it like changes in form. Like the skirt of her dress turns into like bug like
Mhm.
wings. And it's like, again, just like really creative stuff that they were able to do. It's like this I mean, this was just made to be animated like this, I
Yeah.
think.
jumping off of that and also going back to the food a little bit, what was Coraline's obsession with her mom being the one to cook?
Oh,
Why?
misogyny.
Why was
Oh,
that
yeah.
a plot point? Like,
yeah, she's like, my mom never cooks, and it's like
It's
your
like,
mother
maybe she
and
doesn't
father
like
work
to.
full time.
Yeah.
yeah, they could both switch off.
They should take turns.
Yeah.
It was also weird. I think it's supposed to be played for like humor, but I think because like in the book, they literally describe Coraline will be like, "Oh, my dad cooked again," and
A
then she'll
recipe.
describe like a like an incredible sounding meal.
Yeah, she's
I
like,
know.
I hate chicken.
It was
Like,
oh my god, it was a chicken with garlic and potatoes.
yeah, she's like, I
Green
hate
stuff.
garlic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad's always making these dumb
And then
things.
she microwaves a pizza.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be like played for jokes, but like that's one of her complaints about her parents in the book is that like, God, they just keep making my dad keeps making food. It's like, what is this complaint?
I know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it makes sense from a kid. It's like, ooh, I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna stick with what I know. But in the movie, what I kind of didn't like is that the food that the dad makes in the real world looks so gross. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
eat that
Well,
either.
it's like, like when she returns, I know the groceries are like expired and like,
Oh yeah.
you know, there's moments where the food like looks gross. I think she even opens the fridge at one point and there's like either nothing there or just very little there. And
Yeah.
it makes, again, it really leans into that child neglect stuff.
Mm,
As opposed to in the book, it's a little, I would say it's a little more in Coraline's head.
Yeah.
Probably.
definitely.
You ready to hop into the end?
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Uh,
That was crazy.
Thank you.
so as Michael mentioned, there are dead children. Yes, you. There are dead children, and Coraline has to find the souls. Now, in the book, they're represented by these marbles. But in the movie, which I kind of liked better, is they're represented by different things that she finds, like a ball, there's a gear shift,
A ring.
there's a ring.
Yeah.
So it's like all the different places she goes, she'll find a soul, and it is pretty cool. I liked how that looked visually,
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
more so
hidden
than a marble.
They're like more hidden in plain sight in the movie, whereas in the book they're just like marbles somewhere.
Yeah.
And in the movie they do a really cool thing. I don't think it's in the book at all, unless I missed it. The children's souls seem to be like powering parts of the world in the movie. At least
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
got.
cool. Mhm.
Whenever she finds one and takes it, like the gear shift or whatever,
It like
what-
shuts
whatever
down.
part of the world that's in like shuts down and like evaporates.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a very strong understanding of the original narrative to be able to make that work,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, I feel like in both it was things wrapped up really quickly and too easily. But specifically in the book, she finds one of the souls just in her bedroom by the toys. It's like,
Oh yeah.
okay, like I get that's like, oh, it's a starting point, and like maybe the author like wanted her to have something easily to find to like set this up. Like
Mm.
this is her challenge, this is her task, this is what she needs to do. But I was like, just in her bedroom, like I don't know, that's kind of lame.
Yeah,
I
I get
liked
that.
in the movie how it was all the places she's been to,
Yeah.
the garden, Forcible and Spinks,
I
and
always
the
think
rat
it's
circus.
Sphinx.
Sphinx,
It's just spink.
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 Yeah.
It's not even Sphinx.
No,
It's
it's singular
spink.
spink.
one Spink.
Yeah, one spink
One Spink.
to rule them all.
So yeah, that was something I appreciated more in the movie.
Yeah.
For sure. But I will say, like, the conclusion in both is just, it's so wrapped up so easily, and like it's not much of a challenge. Like she finds things pretty quickly with the help of the rock thing. And it was kind of a disappointment, you know? I felt personally.
I get that.
Yeah, she doesn't really figure anything out. I think in the book, finding any of the souls. I don't think that I can remember. She doesn't like cleverly figure out a way to find the souls in the book. She just looks through the rock and sees
Yeah.
them.
In the
You-
book, the game is different though. Like in the book, if I'm remembering correctly, she kind of knows from the get-go that the other mother is not going to let her go. She's kind of like, I can tell that this woman is tricking me.
Yeah, the
She's
cat
very
like warns
aware.
her. The cat's like talking to her like,
Oh, we haven't even spoken about the cat.
yeah, the
I
cat hasn't
know.
really come up.
He's
cat-
the same in both, basically.
And I
Yeah.
loved it. I thought they did the voice.
He's
Perfect.
great. Most of his dialogue also is like directly ripped from
Yes.
the book in the movie.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's like the same, which is
They nailed that. But yeah, it's oh man, I forgot what we were saying about the cat. Why'd the cat just come up?
cool. Because he was warning her about the mother.
Oh, about the other mother. Yeah, exactly.
She's pretty suspicious the whole time, and the cat's like, she's probably not going to play fair. You
yeah,
gotta figure something
Coraline's
out.
like, got it.
Yeah.
Basically. But in the movie, she's kind of like, but like she's like, I played the game or whatever. I don't remember that. She doesn't do that, but like that's how I interpret it.
That's how Ellie Fanning sounds.
No.
Oh, Dakota,
Dakota
Fanning.
Dude. Wow. Fake fanning.
I get.
Wait. On the sorry, back to Coraline. Am I misremembering, or does Coraline actually like cleverly solve any puzzles when she's looking for the souls? Because I don't remember it happening.
I don't think so.
No.
Because even at the end, she fails to get the last soul, and then the cat saves her. The cat gets
Right.
the last soul and helps her.
The cat.
Yeah, because the rat has it. Or am I
Yeah,
getting that
the rat.
confused
Yeah.
with the
One of the rats
movie?
gets away with the last soul, and then the cat catches it.
Can we talk about how that's represented in the movie for 1 second? Because she throws the
Yes.
stone, and I'm like, girl, you really thought that was gonna work, and then it goes over the stairs, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, why would you do that? That's so
Throws
stupid.
away her one tool.
Oh yeah,
that
no,
is
the
useful.
only thing that was gonna help her
Oh
in the
my
entire
god,
process.
the cat.
And that's an
The cat
example
shouldn't
of
have
the
helped her.
characterization being different between the book and the movie. I just don't believe book Coraline would have done that.
No.
She's movie Coraline, yes, she's not the brightest.
Hmm.
Book Coraline, no way.
It's like book Coraline is thinking 2 steps ahead, you know?
Yeah.
Movie Coraline is thinking in the moment.
100%. You
So-
mentioned that the other mother becomes a spider, which
Yeah.
is not at all a thing in the or in the book.
No.
There's no bug stuff happening, right?
I think
she
there
does
is
eat,
reference
she
She
does
to
eat
eats
bugs.
bugs.
a
Yeah.
bug,
She
yes.
eats several bugs.
Which is that really the only line that they pull from to get the spider characterization? Because it makes so much sense.
Right,
It works.
yeah.
I really liked it, but yeah, she doesn't. I don't think she's ever represented as like a spider at all in the
No.
book.
It makes a lot of sense though. I mean, I think they do talk about like her web, or do they not?
Maybe the word web is mentioned.
Just
in
in
the
terms
book.
of how she like creates her world. Like I don't think it was literal, but it does make
Possibly.
sense to me
Yeah.
that you know, of course she built this entire world out, and the other thing that makes sense to me about her being a spider is that it's like with the way that the house looks in the movie is just, to me, it's like it makes you think of dust, it makes you think of spiders, it makes you think of pests, it makes you think of all the homey qualities of old buildings, of just like the things that have lived there. And that's what's nice. It's like this is a creature that has adapted in the walls of this building for a long time. I mean, I don't know how. We don't know the lore of the Beldam. But I like the idea that she's a spider because it's like it makes sense that she's in the walls. It makes sense that she's part of it and that she's like tied to that building and kind of the people that have lived there and how she's been feeding on them and things like that.
Yeah, and her little dimension is her web. It's how she
Exactly.
traps her prey. It's,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
completely works.
Yeah, it's really
But
good.
you're right. It's not in the book at all.
No, I don't think that they ever mention it.
No. But yeah, thematically, it makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the book, Coraline throws the cat onto the other mother. And
She
the
does
other-
them both.
Right. Yes, but in the book, that's how she that's how she gets out, is by throwing the cat. In the movie, she doesn't escape just by throwing the cat.
Yeah, the cat gets out first.
The cat, yeah. It's part of the plan, where in the book it is the plan, and then in the movie it's like part of the plan.
Yeah.
And then she has this whole little moment where she's crawling up the web and she's trying to escape the other mother.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it looks crazy. It looks so cool. And it makes the other mother's like listen, and it makes sense about the eyes too. The other mother's listening to where Coraline is in the web. She doesn't have eyes because she has button eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was wondering what's with the button eyes.
You know,
Because
it's
I
interesting.
don't understand what
probably
that
just looks cool.
It's not necessary. Well, it's like in the
Yes.
movie. One of the distinct things I remember from the movie is the like, is she gonna sew the buttons in her eyes?
Hmm.
It doesn't matter if she sews the buttons in her eyes, does it? Does it?
guess if you don't want to see.
She's still gonna. Well, and then in the kids though, they're like, we let her sew the buttons in her eyes. Well, she ate us, and it's like, wouldn't she eat them anyway?
Yeah,
Why is that necessary?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I guess whenever she gets bored with them, she'll eat.
She'll feed.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But I just the
But
buttons.
what does the buttons have to do?
The
Just
buttons
eat
are a
'em
little-
If you want.
It's a creepy aesthetic choice, I'd
Yeah.
say. But I wouldn't say that lore is 100% straightened out.
Yeah,
That's
there's
not
no
totally
explanation
clean.
at all.
Yeah.
the button eyes definitely seem like something that Neil Gaiman or whatever thought was a cool idea, and was like, don't need to explain it. I just think it's
No.
cool.
But again, this goes into the whole like the creature that's made in the dust of the house thing. It's like what gathers there.
Yeah.
Buttons, lost human things, and it's the thing that makes up this other world.
Yeah, I like your explanation. I wish that was like actually a thing.
Thank
know?
you. That's just what I always thought it was.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
good.
actually watching the movie, I was like, I don't know if they
Maybe you're
actually
giving them
say
too much
that.
credit.
Maybe I'm like these geniuses, and it's actually just fan fiction in my head.
Fanfiction, yeah. Head canon.
Yeah.
So going on to the ghost children portion, there are dream sequences with the ghost children in both.
Mhm.
In the book, they're like at a picnic. They're kind of like frolicking. They're having a good time in her dreams, right?
Oh, yeah.
After she's escaped,
yes.
after her
Yes.
parents are chilling, she's made it to the other side. She's escaped the other mother, and she has a dream about.
Yes.
She puts the marbles under her pillow and she goes to sleep, has a dream with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, "You're, this isn't over yet. Like, we're free, but you're not."
You're like that sucks.
Yeah. And so it's shown differently in both. In the, like I said, in the book, they're like at a picnic, they're chilling, they're having a good time. In the movie, they're in like this Van Gogh looking space.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Yes.
just kind of floating around. Do you guys prefer one or the other?
Visually, the Van Gogh stuff is really
Agree.
cool. I kind of liked them having a little picnic though. Like emotionally, it's very nice that they're
Yeah.
just like getting to be kids together one last time, and
Well,
then
it
they go off
answers-
to whatever the next part is.
Sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean to.
No, sorry.
It answers that thing about what we were talking about at the very beginning. Coraline's friends, like, you know, she doesn't really have friends in the book. So when she's like, you know, hanging out with them in the book, it's like, I don't know. It kind of answers that question that
Yeah.
I think a reader would have. In the movie, it's less essential, so I think they were able to get a little bit more creative with it. Also, can I say one thing about the ghosts earlier, just because it's
Yeah.
going back a little bit? One thing that I thought was interesting in the books. Do you remember when Coraline asks one of the ghosts, "Are you a girl or a boy?" And then it doesn't
yeah.
remember,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it's like, you know, I remember at one point I was wearing dresses and I had long hair, and then they took away my dresses and they cut my hair short. And then Coraline is like, "Oh, I guess you were a boy." And like, what?
No,
I
that's the
did
thing.
remember that.
Like,
In olden times, they would wear like long dresses,
Right.
like the boys would, no matter what.
right. And I think that aided in creating the old timey ghosts
Yeah.
in the movie. It's like having that understanding of like that. But I remember when I was reading it, I was like, okay, genderqueer queen. Like, what's going on here? I was like, wait, what is this statement about gender expression?
That is a song that is mentioned in the musical.
Is it
weirdly
really?
That particularly?
Yeah. That is featured in one of the songs.
Yeah, that's not in the movie at all, though. Anyway, jumping forward. So-
No, I was having a hard time. Obviously, one of them is the grandmother, but then the
Right.
other, there's one that has like a long face.
yes.
There's another one, I can't remember the other one, like a sailor. Is he wearing a sailor outfit?
This is the one with the rounder face, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. It's
So
not some
there's-
old timey, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a hard time pinning down who each ghost child was supposed to be or like what time they were from. It's a bit more hard to tell.
Yeah.
Also, in the book, so in the movie, they're like flying around. They're little angels. They're like flying around in Coraline's dream in like a little Van Gogh painting.
Mhm.
In the book, they're in a little park, and they're two of them are described as just being normal kids, and then one of them is described as like being half animal. I don't know if you
What?
remember
Wait,
this.
what?
One of them is described as like having only one of them has wings in the book. One of them has wings. I forget what animal she's like describing it as, but one of the kids is like not a regular human. And I don't know if that's just like a flavor thing.
I
You don't remember this?
You might have
No.
better reading comprehension, or you've made this up completely.
No, it
I-
happens. She describes one of them like two of the kids are normal kids and they're frolicking around in the playground normally playing, and then one of them has wings and is flying around.
Yes, I remember the wings.
And she's like,
that is weird.
and I feel like I vaguely remember her describing maybe like as part butterfly or something, but like she's just part. She has wings and is flying. I don't know why they just specify that one of them has wings and is flying around and is different from the other kids. Don't know why. They never explain it. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
that is a thing that happens.
No, I do remember the wings.
Mhm.
But interesting.
I don't just think just a difference.
Yeah, no.
Mhm.
Cool. That's what we're here for.
That's so what we're here for.
Now she's out of the the other world.
It is the underworld.
The
though.
underworld, yeah.
Rise
Hey,
of the
going back to your
Lycans.
Persephone
I mean, yeah, like that is
symbolism.
what it is.
She's escaped, but things are not over yet, right? So the hand has come out from the other world trying to get the key to the door. So Coraline has to come up with a plan. And the plans are different. In the book, she sets up like this fake tea party. It's really smart. I really like it. She sets up this fake tea party atop the well and puts the key in the middle. So she sets up like the tablecloth and then the key in the middle. And then the hand jumps in and falls down into the well, which was established at the beginning. And in the movie, it feels very rushed. Like they kind of had to add that in there.
Yeah, it seems like an afterthought.
Well, yeah, the movie, there is no real plan.
No,
She
she was
finds
just
out-
gonna put it in, right?
Yeah, she finds out that like the hand is here and it's after the key, so she like wakes up and runs to the well.
Yeah.
Why
To go,
has
like,
a
toss
role in the ending, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
YB, he
Saves-
grabs
yeah.
the hand, right? Or he saves her?
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
hand grabs Coraline's key. It's like around her neck.
Yeah,
it's
and
like
tries
dragging
to-
her. Yeah, it's like trying to drag her away, and then YB like hits the hand into the well and like
Yeah.
falls into the well. I think.
Yeah, so ultimately, YB is the reason that the hand falls in the well. And in the book, that is obviously not the case because YB doesn't exist.
No.
And that's my only gripe with YB. Why did YB close the chapter?
Because her plan in the book is so smart. I was
Because
like,
she's
whoa.
so smart. And I love it because it's like,
agency.
little girls are that smart. Like, I do think that, like, the plan that she conceived where she's like I know that the other mother's hand is totally gonna believe that I still play with my dolls like this.
Yeah.
It's just such a like it's a completely rational line of thought for a girl her age, and it's so smart. Everything that she does in the book is just, you know,
Yeah, there's even like a whole bit where she knows the hand is like in Miss Spink's house
yeah.
because it like hurt her dog. So she's like walks up to Miss Spink, is like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go by the well and have a tea party." And then she's like, "Oh, this key? I'm gonna use it as a toy, as a prop
Yeah.
for my tea party. Don't worry about it." And Miss Spink is like, "What are you talking
You're a
about?"
weirdo.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
really fun.
she's just so smart in the book, and then in the movie, her intelligence might be the same, but we wouldn't know because YB's the one who ends it.
Mm-hmm. So I have one more note, which is there's no garden party in the book at all. It's a nice way to end
Yeah.
the chapter.
Yes.
It's a good way to end the movie. But it is not in the book at all.
Yes.
The book just ends with her being like, "School's about to start, and I'm not scared of anything anymore." And then she has a
Yeah,
little like
it's cute.
confident moment. It's cute, but
For that, I'd say I like the movie better.
Yeah.
because
100%.
the movies, you get a whole little closing thing with all the people, all the friends she's made along the way.
It's very sweet.
And then we see YB's grandma for the first time. She shows up to the little
Who
party.
is the landlord, right?
Yes, correct.
It's kind of pro landlord.
Does she give the doll back? She
Well-
talks to the grandma, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I
do
don't
not
remember.
remember.
It fades away. She never actually gets to talk on screen. But
Oh.
she's like, "I got so much to tell you,"
That's right.
and then it like fades out. Because I don't know if we've ever clearly stated it, but in the movie YB, this new character, his grandma's sister is one of the like ghosts, one of the souls that
girls,
was taken
yeah.
a long time ago, and so the grandma is very cautious about the house.
She doesn't want to have kids there like at all.
Yeah.
That's mentioned.
So
Yeah.
Coraline rescues this lady's younger sister's soul, and so at the end we finally get to see his grandma, and she's like, "I'm going to tell you so much," and then it ends. It's very nice.
I will say though, YB in the other world adds a lot of creepy factor.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Mhm.
I didn't think like the other parents are scary, yes. But the moment where the other mother introduces other YB, and then later when you see that his like smile is stitched
Yeah.
and he's like stuck like this,
Yeah.
it's like some of the creepiest visual stuff I do think was from YB. And that was how I understood in watching the movie. Oh, the other mother character is creating this world. She found out about YB, so she created a YB, but she made him how Coraline wanted him to be.
Yeah.
And that is illustrated, I think, very clearly the manipulation tactics of the other mother through YB. So that is something positive I'll say about YB.
Yeah, when the other mother turns back to look at YB and like his smile like goes down.
Yeah, he's like sad.
that was so creepy.
It's
I liked
so
it.
eerie. And she's like,
Yeah,
for our visual listeners, I just
tapped your
she-
cheeks.
Yeah,
Tapped your
smile.
cheeks. So ultimately, what do you prefer, the book or the movie?
Ooh, I'll go first on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
I think I ultimately preferred the movie. As an experience, I enjoyed the movie more. While we have a lot of positive things to say about like the structure and the plotting of the book, I ultimately like didn't get much out of it. It is just like a nice, well put together kids story with a little bit of spooks in it. And that's kind of it. I didn't like get much out of it. I was just like, okay, it was nice.
Fair.
Yeah, you did it and you did it good. So the movie I think was a lot more enjoyable experience for me because I love animation and I love stop motion, and it was gorgeous the whole way through. So many fun creative decisions. They clearly tried to get as much mileage as they could with this premise and idea. Like you said, every opportunity they took to like have interesting visual ideas, like with the other mother being like a spider and like all these cool visual choices. I had a more enjoyable time with the movie, I would say overall. That's my reasoning for that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you say that. I'm going to say something so stupid and obvious, but I just think it's true. Sometimes we watch books, like in the context of this podcast, sometimes we'll watch, well, did I just say we'll watch
You
books?
did.
You did. Yeah.
I can amend that right now. In the context of this podcast, sometimes we will read books and watch movies. And it almost seems independent. Like, I would say the movie of My Best Friend's Exorcism could exist without the book, I think. I think like somebody could come up with that narrative and make it into a movie, not necessarily inspired by the original text. In terms of what I think is conceivable. I can't say that about Coraline. I don't think that one could just come up with the entire, I mean, okay. I just think, to me, Coraline is so clean in its story that it is so obviously tied to its source material, and how it, like I said, I keep going on about this, but how it hits its story beats is just so executed well that I think the movie has the opportunity, like you were saying, to do more. So the experience of the movie, I'd say I like better. But this is probably the closest of all of the ones that we've talked about so far where I'm not sure, because it's so hard to separate, you know. In the world where we have both, I think one would have a more enjoyable experience watching the movie.
That's why it's a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like it. I am going to disagree and say that I like the book better.
I knew you'd like the book better.
Whoa, Tessa liked the book?
Shocker.
No way.
I just think it's way more creepier. The illustrations, I mean, you guys read the audiobook, but I was listening to the audiobook and also reading the book. And there are some cool, creepy illustrations that really add to it. And so I could imagine these characters in my head a bit better of like what Gaiman was going for. The rat song was super creepy. I liked that a lot. And just Coraline's characterization in the book, I appreciated a lot more. We got into that a lot, but I just think she's a really great character in the book. In the movie, she kind of annoyed me a bit. And yeah, how it wraps up with the well scene, I think is really smart. Obviously, I had some complaints overall with the game itself, finding the souls, finding the parents, all that. I felt was way too easy, but it's also a kid's book, so I don't know how hard he would want to make it. But I think overall, I feel like the book was smarter and knew that like kids could handle certain topics. They could handle the creepy things. While the movie tried to brighten things up a bit and make things more palatable. So I would have to say the book is more more up my alley than the movie.
Fair.
Yeah. Would you guys like to get to this versus that segment?
Yes.
Okay.
Indubitably.
So circus rats versus Scottish Terrier bats.
What do you mean? To own?
Just in general, what do you prefer?
To enslave.
Okay.
I don't have to go first on this. This is kind of
she needs to think about it.
Positive this or that. I feel like normally our this or that's are like which one's worse to you, and this one it's kind of like I don't know.
What do you vibe more with?
I like the little rats.
Okay.
I like me a couple little circus rats. They're cool. The bat dogs, not a fan. Didn't like them.
I just like, but I would want to stick out my arm and then a little bat dog like flies onto it.
Oh, that'd be
nice.
sick.
You know what I mean?
I'd like that.
Hmm.
So I think I'm gonna disagree.
I feel like
with
that'd
you.
work with your aesthetic, you know?
Thank you. I think so too.
Mhm.
It's like a bird, except it's a dog that I can pet.
Yeah, the one thing this outfit is missing is a dog with bat wings, I think.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
For the viewers at home, for the listeners at home, you're not gonna understand that. Sorry.
You cannot
Just
imagine what her
imagine.
outfit is.
You
It's
can't even
so
fathom
crazy.
it. unbelievable what she's wearing this episode.
It's similar to the neighbors. One way. Imagine. Don't.
Anyway, I think I would go with circus rats because you can train them to do cool tricks and sing and bounce on balls.
Well, you can do that with normal rats. Wait, no, you can't do all that.
Not all that.
No, not
they can
everyone.
play
You
can train-
instruments.
You can train rats.
You can.
right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're cuter in the movie than in real life.
That's one of the notes that I had is, oh my god, these mice are so cute.
They're so cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah, I love them.
They do turn into little ugly rats though when they die, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They're little cute little jumping mice in the movie.
Yeah. Next one. Would you rather fall into a well or get buttons sewn into your eyes?
Oh, there it is.
So there, I was just
Okay.
waiting.
That's
just waiting.
fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to ease you into it a little bit. You know,
Well, when we say fall down a well,
I'm talking about that long well, like that takes a long
is there
time.
water at the bottom?
I think there was a bit of a plunk when she dropped a.
There
Was
was,
that-
wa-
so
So there
there-
was water,
There
so
is
I'm not
water.
hitting stone if I fall into the well.
I mean, it
Depends-
depends how high up it is.
Right, the
The
water.
water.
It does depend how high the water is. Okay, so the option is death or sewing buttons in your eyes.
I mean,
But seemingly, I mean, yeah.
I mean, like, it depends how big the buttons are. Like, what if I sewed them like this? For the listeners at home, what if I sewed them above my eyes, like on the bones of my face?
Oh,
okay. Instead
know
of
what I'm
having your
saying?
eyes taken out.
that's like getting like an eyebrow piercing, but with a button.
Right, I imagine it would hurt, and I'd basically be blind because I couldn't see out of anything.
You
You
got
could
two
see through
buttons.
the little tiny.
Yeah, probably. And it's like, I do think that would be better than certain death, right? Because I can't get out of the well at any point.
Oh yeah, you're kind of stuck there. huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are for sure dead.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the buttons.
Yeah. Now that you mention all that, I think I'm also gonna go with the buttons.
I also feel like the buttons like look cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
You look kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like you shop at Hot Topic.
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alrighty, last one. Hot chocolate versus mango smoothie.
She has a mango milkshake in the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's not a smoothie. I remember this because I thought it was disgusting. And I was like, why would they combine fruit with milkshake? I'm going to pull it up because neither of
I
you
mean, there's like a
believe me.
strawberry milkshake.
True.
That's different
Yeah, is it?
in my
They're
head.
both
In what way?
fruits.
Explain why.
I'm pulling it up. I actually need this to be fact checked because if I'm wrong, and I was just like, "You're wrong."
I was
and
gonna
being
fact check
so
it in-
embarrassing.
Immediately
I was gonna
hard
fact
correct. No.
It's a mango milkshake.
Okay. I believe you. Alrighty. Hot chocolate versus mango milkshake then.
Hot chocolate.
Thanks for getting it right this time. That's it.
My bad.
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, I'm going hot chocolate on that one.
Okay.
It makes
Actually-
a difference. I would have done mango smoothie if it was mango smoothie.
Mm.
No, I changed my mind. I'm not a big hot chocolate person, and I do like trying weird things. I'll go with the mango milkshake
I
because I've never
agree.
tried that before. And I
Yeah,
would
I
like
just
to.
want to.
Yeah, I want to try a mango milkshake for sure.
Pulled up a clip mid
Yeah, I
podcast.
am because we're not gonna get like copywritten for this. Fact check this in post, and then if I'm wrong, just like record you speaking over me and just be like mango smoothie. Then just
Yeah. Yay. We did the this versus that. I want to talk about the musical just a little bit because I did listen to the soundtrack and it is not great. It was made before, or I guess the same year the movie came out. So they didn't know the cultural impact that Coraline was going to have.
Hmm.
So if they did, they probably would have tried a little bit harder.
oh,
It sounds like they recorded it while they were performing on stage. Like it's not a professional recording
Oh.
at all, which sometimes can sound good. Like the Hadestown original off-Broadway soundtrack still sounds pretty good. Even
which we've
though-
all heard.
Just act like
it's
you know
just
what I'm talking
that
about.
hasn't seen- yeah, I mean, correct.
Yeah, yeah.
We're so many
We're all aware.
Hades and Persephone references today.
Yeah.
So it sounded like it was recorded on stage. I showed them a little bit about like one of the songs, and it sounds like they're just smashing a child's piano.
Can you please play
What?
some? Can you play some on the
I
podcast?
didn't-
Will we get copywritten for that? Though?
I don't know. Cause
Just a little snippet. Just a little.
If we talk over it, I don't think we're gonna have a problem.
Okay, I will show you one of the songs. And it's again, like I mentioned, British people singing, and the girl, the woman.
The woman.
I say that. I emphasize that because a woman plays Coraline and she sounds like a woman.
Oh.
She does not, and you will see right now. She does not sound like a child. She's not trying to sound like a child. And it's kind of off-putting.
Okay.
I feel like it just, I don't know. I didn't like any of the songs, which is crazy because I usually find at least one song in a musical soundtrack that I at least like and will add to my playlist. And none of these hit.
Oof. Oh no.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I
excited.
got heated over this. Anyway.
Okay. So
And
wait,
that's all I play.
that's Coraline?
That's Coraline.
That's cool, right?
I should like
not how
some
I'd envision
fluorescent
it.
green gloves.
You're right. That actress does sound a lot older than I would have expected. For
Yeah, this is supposed to be a child. She's not trying. at
Very
all.
young child.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the rat song, it shows up 3 times in the musical. It sounds exactly like the audiobook version.
Oh.
Really?
So it's very creepy. But yeah, wouldn't listen to it on the normally.
Yeah,
would
no,
not
okay.
play that in the
Right.
car, you know.
It's not like
You
a
don't wanna
good
bump
sounding
that?
no,
song.
it's so awful. I hate it. What?
I said you don't want to bump that?
No, not really. Not particularly. I don't think I'm ever gonna do that.
Mm.
But yeah, like you heard, the instrumentals are really minimal. It's just like the same kind of ding 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 ding, like, you know, like just a piano. Like it works like in the sense of it's a children's piano and like this is for children. But I don't know who this appeals to, because a kid doesn't want to see a musical. So like a parent is probably taking their kid. Nobody wants to be there. You know.
Dude, you are riffing into this music.
I'm sorry. I didn't intend going into this. I was just gonna like say my opinions, but then as I got into it, I was like, actually, I'm
this
kind of heated.
stinks.
But yeah, like to give credit, like they obviously didn't know that this was gonna be a cult classic. They probably would have like had more of a budget, and maybe they would have put more time into making an actual production, like a recording, a professional recording of the soundtrack. But they didn't. So I'm hoping with the new musical that's coming to the West End that they will do that, because it has the potential to be a good musical, I think.
Yeah, probably.
And back then I also think that like younger audiences weren't into musicals as much, but now with Hamilton it's brought up this hype around musicals, I feel like, among millennials and Gen Z and stuff. So that I feel like now they're
Right.
gonna like
And
know
those
their target
audiences-
audience
yeah,
is
exactly.
gonna want to see it.
Those audiences are now the age where they can pay for those tickets, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, you know, I don't know how Gen Alpha fares when it comes to musical theater appreciation.
Not a clue. I have no clue.
What is Gen Alpha? Which one's that one? Is that the
After-
new one?
Yeah, it's after us.
Is it a new one?
Yeah.
New
The
generation.
new one
They
Big
keep
drop?
making new ones
Keeps happening, huh?
Yeah.
We gotta stop that.
every few years.
So yeah, that is my opinion on the Coraline musical.
Good opinion.
Nice.
Thanks. I hope that made
Skunk.
sense. I hope that, yeah.
Well,
No, yeah.
getting the sample helps.
Okay. Yeah. So hopefully we don't get copyright strike.
I was trying to talk over it a little bit, but like, you know.
You
we'll
also
see.
wanted to hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, yeah. That is our episode on Coraline, everybody. Next, in 2 weeks, we're going to be covering I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So make sure to watch the movie. It's on Netflix. Read the book if you wish. And yeah, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Dreadful Digest Pod. And we will see you next time.
Cut it there.
That's
Cut that.
how I
Cut it.